So next we're going to get ready for our next speaker, who is actually a paramedic, and her name is Miss Bandali. So if you want to go ahead and start presenting, the floor is yours.
Hiya, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm actually from the UK, if that hasn't come across already. And I'm a paramedic. So for those of you aspiring to be doctors, then this is just like another option that's available for you. So my journey was quite odd to becoming a paramedic. I went to a grammar school in the UK, which is kind of, I don't know whether you have the same system in the US, but when you're 10 or 11 years old, you take a test and that determines whether you get in or not. That school was very much focused on traditional subjects, so medicine, engineering, law, kind of pushing you towards those very traditional fields. And paramedicine was never really an option. In the UK, there's a direct entry to medicine, so you apply to a med school straight away and you get in after you finished school. So I knew I wanted to get into medicine. I thought it was really exciting. I love being hands-on and I love talking to people, so I knew it was right for me. But I didn't get the grades to get into medicine, and despite getting an offer with the university, I thought I didn't want to take a gap year and try again with the grades. So I thought I'd get some experience, and I knew that paramedicine was a degree, and despite not knowing anyone who's done it, I decided to take the plunge and jump in and see how it is. Within the first 2 weeks of trying it out, I absolutely loved it. I knew it was right for me. I wanted to get, as I mentioned before, I wanted to get into medicine because it's so hands-on. I love being able to do things to people. So intubating, cannulating, that stuff really excites me. And being able to, and especially emergency medicine, where you know things are really time critical, is just amazing for me. So within like the first 2 weeks of uni, you're basically just kicked out onto the road and supposed to be an independent clinician. So I went straight from school to being a paramedic. And that was really exciting. And I think a lot of people don't understand how much paramedics do, but the way paramedics have gone from basically an ambulance driver to now being a community paramedic, where we can prescribe patients drugs, we can do life-saving interventions such as chest decompression, intubation, cannulating, pretty much everything that will save your life in that moment. And I think, and especially how it is now within the UK, it's turned to a more sort of primary care based thing. So we'll go and assess people, diagnose them, and work with doctors to form a plan of treatment for them. So I think that's really cool. I think it's definitely worth considering allied health professions because you get so many experiences with them. I managed to go to New Zealand for my third year and got to go onto the ambulances there and got to go on the air ambulance there and learn so many things and work with so many doctors. I'm really, really excited for my future because it's such an exciting field. I think one of the other questions that you sent me was, what are some of the things that you want to do when you are something that you want to have as your goal, basically, as a medical professional? And you might have realised, I don't know whether, well, it is the same in the US, that there's not many ethnic minorities in paramedicine, and there's not many females at all as well. And the reason is because paramedicine was created with a huge armed forces background, and it's very male dominated. And what I'd love to be able to do, and what I'm doing right now with the College of Paramedics, which is in the UK, is pushing females, especially females from ethnic minorities, to take part in careers that they may have not considered before. I faced many hardships coming into this career because my community thought it was rare of a girl, like a Muslim female, to be able to go into a career where you're basically going into random people's houses and not knowing what to expect, and you're kind of not put in a safe bubble anymore. But I think that's the great thing about it, because you are able to go to someone at their most vulnerable. So I hope that's kind of like given you an insight to my career as a paramedic, and I'll be open to any questions later on. And you can message me on my Instagram handle as well. I'll pop it in the chat.
That was amazing. We definitely want to ask you more questions at 10:45, But right now, I want to go ahead and introduce our other speaker, um, who's actually a physician, Miss Lee. If you are here, the floor is yours. We might have a little bit of a delay for our other speaker, so if we want to continue doing questions, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so I just had a quick question. I'll start off. What are some certifications that you would recommend high schoolers that they should like receive during their time in high school? Would that be like CPR, life saving, AED for kind of like the paramedic side of medicine?
Cool. So that's a really good question. So definitely get a CPR certificate. I think a lot of, even if it's not a proper certificate, but if it's just sort of going to a CPR teaching program and getting involved with like a youth organisation. So over here, I don't know whether you guys have the same thing, but we have something called St. John's Ambulance Service, and they teach youth how to basically be mini paramedics. So they teach them basic life-saving skills, how to put people into the recovery position, and even if you're applying for medicine, that looks great to put on like a CV or application form. And even like getting involved with teaching life-saving skills as well when you learn. That shows loads of. So before, when I applied to do medicine, I was already like teaching life-saving skills in my mosque, and that looks great for them. So even if you could get into an organisation that does something like that, would be amazing.
I saw another question in the chat.
I think you're muted.
Oh. I saw another question, yeah, from the chat.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer the next question. So I did A-levels wise, I did biology, chemistry, maths, and Spanish as well. Definitely need at least one science when you're applying to do paramedicine, and you need to get I think a minimum of a B grade, and definitely something different. So like I did Spanish, and I was told that I stood out compared to other candidates because it wasn't kind of like, we call it the golden trinity here in the UK, so it's like biology, chemistry, and physics. So just if you can stand out with your options as well, I think that looks really good.
I know a lot of people are really kind of just intimidated or scared in taking like chemistry or physics. How would you kind of explain your experience in that?
Definitely don't be intimidated by a subject. I think when you come to do your choices, then think of what you really like doing. For me, I really liked studying biology and chemistry, but just choose what you feel comfortable in doing. If you're pushing yourself to take chemistry or physics, then I think just you're not going to do as well as at it than other subjects. There are different ways of getting into medicine than doing the standard A-level route. You can do access courses, or you can do sort of like over here in the UK, we have a graduate entry medicine, where if you've done a completely different degree, you can do something else. And yeah, don't push yourself to do something that you don't really want to do. Do I do the other ones? Do I need to? So for you don't. So Russell Group universities in the UK are basically your Ivy Leagues, I think. So definitely don't need to be in a Russell Group university to get into medicine. If you want to do medicine, a lot of non-Russell Group universities are doing it. So I think Brighton is doing medicine now, and Newcastle. So there are options available for you. There's loads of universities doing nursing. I went to Birmingham City University, which does paramedicine, and most of the universities that do paramedicine aren't Russell Group universities. So yeah, just keep your options open.
How would your daily lifestyle be? Is like paramedics more busy? Do you have like an uncertain schedule?
Yeah, so we definitely have a uncertain schedule. We do 12-hour shifts. Well, most paramedics do 12-hour shifts. They can definitely stretch to 14 or 15-hour shifts. I think the longest shift I worked was 17 hours. So yeah, it's definitely very uncertain. You work night shifts, you work day shifts, and it depends in what area of the country you're working in. Because if you're working in a city, you're definitely going to be busier than if you're working in sort of like a rural area. You could be called out for all the time, like every single hour when you're doing when you're on your shift to a patient, or you could just have loads and loads of downtime. For example, in New Zealand, because it's such a rural area already in New Zealand, I was basically not being called out at all for the whole 12-hour shift, apart from like seeing one patient. But then in the UK, I get called out. I probably see about 8 patients every 12 hours because we're just so busy. But it is a lifestyle choice that you have to adhere to, and it's very busy. But it's up to you. Like, you can always do that for a little while and then go into being in primary care, where you can work in hospitals and do like a 9 to 5 shift instead. So yeah, I'll go and answer the next questions if that's okay. Are we good on time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I have my first aid and CPR certification, and I was wondering what we could do that would help paramedics when they arrive on the scene. So you can, I don't know, are you based in the UK or the US? But in the UK, we can do something called CFRing, Community First Response. So basically, if you can drive, you have a car, and you can basically crowdfund to get some medical equipment. And these guys are basically just volunteers who go to extra paramedic jobs that are lagging, and they'll basically go and do first sort of interventions, so they can take temperatures, they can take blood pressures, and little things like that can help massively. Yeah, having your CPR and first aid is great, and what helps paramedics the most, honestly, is just telling us what has happened, because often we'll go to a scene and we have no information on it whatsoever. We'll just get a call saying like someone's lying on the floor and have no information on what's happened. So if you just come up to your friendly paramedic who's on scene and just tell them, yo, this has happened, and just give us a cool little instruction brief detail into what's happened, that would be much appreciated. So yeah, but first aid and CPR is great. What volunteering experience do you recommend to have? Cool. So it's really hard to get medical experience in the UK unless you know people. I don't have any family who are doctors, or paramedics, so I really struggled. So what I did is I got some experience at a veterinary clinic. So I kind of learned skills there, learned how to be with patients or pet owners who are basically the patients. And that was really good. Also, volunteering-wise, as I mentioned before, I've done events where I teach life-saving skills. I've been a British Heart Foundation volunteer, which is basically helping in shops, charity shops, to help fund heart research. So any volunteering experience you can get, it doesn't have to be medical related, as long as you can kind of apply what you're doing to a medical sense. So for example, I used to teach Zumba, and I used to be like, oh, I have good leadership skills because I teach Zumba. So yeah, as long as you can apply it, it's cool. And shall I just answer the last question? What is one piece of advice you'd give to all students during this situation? I'll use British catchphrase, keep calm and carry on. Yeah, don't let it get you down. I know that right now it's super stressful, and particularly for not knowing what your future can hold. But remember to keep your goal strong in your head and keep pushing forwards towards it. Don't let yourself get too stressed by what's happening around you. Sometimes you have to be a little selfish, and make sure you go and find all those things. You know, right now, I thought I found more opportunities than I would have before Corona, just because so much stuff has arrived on the internet, and so many people are doing things on the internet, such as this. So get your contacts through there. Start emailing people. Don't be shy to email people. Most likely, people want to talk to you. And yeah, that's like 10 pieces of advice. But yeah, there you go. Do we have time to answer the last question? Yeah. Okay. To write up a personal statement to get into good universities. And you're welcome. Personal statement wise, be honest. There's no point. That's number one. So I had a friend who wrote about this medical book that she read, and then in her interview, they actually questioned her about the book and questioned her tons about the book, and she hadn't read the book. So don't lie in your personal statement. Just be honest. And as I said before, use what you have. So if you speak another language, put that in there. If you help out, if you have a cool like hobby, I do cross stitching. It's really weird that I know I'm like a 6-year-old already, but cross stitching I was able to apply in a medicine related sense. So I said I've got an eye for detail because I do cross stitching. Basically, use whatever you have that makes you a unique person and stick it in that personal statement. They're not looking for the classic. You know, I've done this clinical experience. I've got this many accomplishments. I've got this award on like the maths challenge. Like, you know, no offense, but every other medical applicant will have something similar along those lines. So find something that's completely unique to you, even if it's like, I don't know, having your own little like coffee stall or lemonade stall if you're in the US, and just weird things that make you unique. They love seeing that.
Just one more question. Has your timings kind of shifted or changed or become more hectic during these times during COVID-19? And just isn't it like just a lot more risk that you have to put yourself into?
Cool. So I actually haven't been working during coronavirus, just because I just recently graduated from university and we were still finishing all the university modules up. However, I can tell you from the experience of my friends who have been working that it's definitely been more stressful, just because of the fact, especially when it first started, because I think lots of people were thinking that ambulances carry tests for coronavirus. So people were calling us just to tell us, can you test me for coronavirus? And obviously going into a situation, we had to be trained in wearing full PPE, so either a hood, masks, aprons, or like a full kit. And it would get, I think over here in the UK, we're not used to heat, and it's been 33 degrees and counting upwards recently. So it's been super hot and super time draining and super mentally draining as well. But I think we're all coping, and over here the support's been really great for all the paramedics. People have been going outside and clapping and things. But yeah, don't call an ambulance if you don't need it, basically. We're busy.
Yes, I think you have given us a lot of great information. And I just want to thank you for coming out today and talking about your experience. And I feel that if we had more time, I could have just kept on asking you questions, and all of us could have. But I just want to go ahead and thank you so much for coming out and talking to us. And we would like to definitely feature you again soon. Thank you. If we could get a quick picture with you, I forgot that.
Yeah, it's fine. Just tell me when to smile.
Yes, we're ready.